This is the Early Permian.
History is often compressed by time. When we imagine the ancient giants of our world, our minds drift immediately to the dinosaurs. The Tyrannosaurus, the Triceratops,
The Dimetrodon, characterized by its prominent dorsal sail and leathery, rusted orange hide.
but there was a world before them. A strange, alien landscape bathed in a harsher sun. A time when the continents were fusing into a single supermass. 40 million years before the first dinosaur took its first breath, a different kind of ruler walked these lands. It was not a lizard. It was not a dinosaur. It was something far more significant to our own story. This is the Early Permian. The ground is red with iron. The air is thick. And here, dominating the primitive swamps and drying plains, is the Dimetrodon. With a sprawling gait and a magnificent sail rising from its spine, it serves as the ultimate solar engine. It is the apex of its age, a synapsid, a distant ancient relative of us. To understand the Dimetrodon is to understand a forgotten chapter of life on Earth. A chapter written in red stone, long before the age of reptiles began. As the sun climbs higher over the Permian horizon, the true genius of the Dimetrodon is revealed. While other creatures remain sluggish, trapped by the cold of the night, the Dimetrodon is already awake. This sail, a structure of elongated vertebrae connected by highly vascularized skin, acts as a biological solar panel. By turning its broadside to the sun, it can raise its body temperature rapidly. In a world where speed is determined by temperature, this heat exchange gives it a lethal advantage. It is faster, more alert, and ready to hunt hours before its prey can even move. But look closer. Beyond the sail, there is a secret hidden in the skull. A feature that separates this creature from every reptile that crawls beside it. Its name, Dimetrodon, means two measures of teeth. Unlike reptiles, which possess rows of identical pegs, this animal has specialized tools. Large stabbing canines, shearing incisors. It is the first step toward a revolution. This dental adaptation is a hallmark not of lizards, but of mammals. We are looking at a stem-mammal, a synapsid. If you trace your own lineage back past the primates, past the small furred creatures of the Jurassic, you will eventually find a creature like this, staring back at you from the red dust. For millions of years, the Dimetrodon ruled. It was the perfect machine for its time. But the Earth is not a static stage. It is a volatile, shifting entity.
Dimetrodon. Differentiated teeth show this was a formidable predator.
The Dimetrodon's sprawling posture contrasts sharply with the tucked limbs of this early mammal ancestor.
Far to the north, in what is now Siberia, the ground began to break open. Not a single volcano, but a tear in the planet's crust. The Siberian traps. Lava poured out for hundreds of thousands of years. But it wasn't the lava that killed. It was the gas. Carbon dioxide. Methane. The atmosphere began to thicken, trapping heat like a suffocating blanket. The global temperature skyrocketed. The oceans stagnated. The lush swamps where the Dimetrodon hunted began to evaporate into cracked, red clay. The magnificent sail, evolved to capture heat, now became a burden. In a world that was overheating, there was no way to cool down. The advantage had become a curse. This event is known to science as the Great Dying, the Permian-Triassic extinction. It was the closest life on Earth ever came to being completely extinguished. 90% of all species vanished. Our solitary hunter walks through a changing world. The sky is no longer blue. It is a bruised purple, choked with ash. The age of the Dimetrodon is ending. The Dimetrodon was gone. The great sailback giants vanished into the rock. But they did not die out completely. They left something behind. Hidden in the burrows, small relatives of the Dimetrodon, the cynodonts, waited in the dark. They possessed the special teeth, the high metabolism, and eventually, the fur. For the next 160 million years, the world belonged to the dinosaurs. Our ancestors stayed small, living in the shadows, keeping the Synapsid lineage alive through the long reptilian reign, until another catastrophe changed everything. The asteroid that ended the dinosaurs was the door opening for the Synapsids to return. They emerged from the bunkers of history. They grew. They diversified. They became the wolves, the whales, the elephants, and us. Today, in the red clay of Texas, we find them, not as monsters, but as milestones. When we look at a Dimetrodon skeleton in a museum, we are not looking at a stranger. We are looking at the pioneer of our own physiology, the first creature to spark the internal fire that warms our blood today. It was not a dinosaur. It was the first true giant of our family tree. And 40 million years before the first T-Rex, it was the king of the world, the Dimetrodon, the solar engine that started it all.